All right, everyone, going to be getting into the round one coverage here for the US Open, talking about the showdown and first round leader picks, as well as some round one props. Let's get into it. All right, so I do just want to start out with the first round leader and showdown content first, because it's going to go hand in hand with what we're going to be looking at for the props that we're going to be on as well. But first, just real quickly, let's see if we have any pin placement updates. Just yet, we do not. And so why is looking at the pin placement important? Not really for showdown or round one, first round leader stuff, but it is important for props. So we don't have anything like that. Let's take a peek at the weather as well. Nothing too crazy in the forecast just yet for Thursday. It's looking like a great week of weather. Finally, it seems like every big event on the PGA Tour, in golf, has had bad weather, so that's refreshing. So when I look at the plays on the 9 to 5 showdown slate, all I have to do here is select which round we're going into. So we're going into round one, and then what we can do is we can look at the breakdown of it. We can see how they rank out in the season in that category, what they're projected to score for that round, or just simply by showdown rank. What I want to do is I just want to look at showdown rank, so we can see which golfers are going to be the best round one showdown plays, and this is going to correlate precisely with the golfers that are going to be the best first round leader picks. Okay, that is what I'm looking at. But what I want to do is I want to see the players that are going to be the top round one showdown plays that also have that round, that early round tee time in round one. So we can go to tee time, we can sort by early. Okay, and you guys will see the players placed. This doesn't get updated until tomorrow, or once the round starts, then it goes to the next tournament. Okay, so this is still from the RBC Canadian Open. If a player misses the cut and you guys want to use this tool, simply sort the place by one or whatever, and then it's going to filter based off of that. But obviously we don't have to worry about that in round one. So looking at just based off of those constraints, the top first round leader picks that we're going to have are going to be John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Tyrrell Hatton, Justin Rose, Sungjae Im, Justin Thomas, Adam Scott, Max Homa, Bryson DeChambeau. And so just looking at this, guys, in terms of showdown picks, who are we going in on, right? We're going in on Justin Rose, we're going in on Adam Scott, and possibly even Bryson DeChambeau. Are there any good values that we could potentially be on? Not really. I mean, maybe Siwoo Kim a little bit, maybe JT Poston, like if we're trying to find some value, but that's how we can go about using this tool. Now let's take a look at it in more of a betting side, okay? Kind of just straightforward. I've mentioned this a bunch. I tweeted about this. It's so tough to give out content for this stuff because it's straightforward like that. It's like, all right, here are the best plays, moving on. You know, that's tough for me. That's how I designed the tools to be, though. So let's get into the betting page, which is going to echo the same information, but you guys will be able to better decide maybe which players you want to be on because of this. So if you're worried about the 9 to 5 data for some reason, even though it's been awesome, you don't have to use that. You can go based off of the Vegas rank as well. So we can sort it by odds rank, which players had the best odds to finish first round lead. If you guys just want to trust Vegas, you can. I'm fine with that. So showdown wise, you could kind of figure out which players you want to be on as well. So Vegas is going to be valuing Bryson a little bit more than I am, okay? And that's what this little calculation here is as well. Vegas overall likes him 4 spots better than I do, rank-wise, if we're just comparing the two ranks. And that's what I added in here with the optional metric there. I just tossed in my rank there, okay? Still, not a bad play. We can see like that is going to be a good value on the slate. Same thing with Justin Rose. I like him a lot more than Vegas does, okay? We can definitely roll with him. Then Justin Thomas, okay. Like we are seeing that these are going to be good plays. We can see maybe a really good value first round leader-wise would actually be someone like Adam Scott, who ranks out really well, coming in the 28th best first round leader odds on the slate as a whole, yet I have him ranked as top 15. And if we were just sort by early, once again, just using the 9 to 5 rank here, we can see he's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. The 10th best play then. So that's how I like to do it. And so for those of you guys that are kind of new to my process for picking a first round lead and even round 2 showdown, what I'm looking at is going to be the early tee times, the players that have the AM tee times, and then I'm reducing the overall field to the top 5%. So typically speaking, that's about 7 or so players. This week I'd be fine kind of opening that up a little bit more. I do worry about Justin Thomas and Sungjae Im maybe having a first round lead, but if we want to bet them to have maybe a top 10 or top 5 finish after round 1, we could. But I do want to point out that those are going to be better bets on something like BetMGM, where they pay out full. They don't take away money from you for a tie. Okay, so that is kind of huge there. And that's been a huge benefit with the first round leader betting, because the favorites, my strategy that I just talked about, has been awesome. Okay, literally last year hit for, I think it was 7 straight tournaments, having the first round lead, just doing that. This season, there was like a 2-month stretch up until last week where they finished T2. It was so frustrating, especially with some long shot outright or first round leader bets. They finished T2. And so yet last week it was finally Aaron Rai and Corey Connors getting the first round lead using those constraints. So that's my long way of saying we can bet first round lead, know that's going to come back around eventually, or you can kind of take a safer approach and maybe do top 5, top 10. That's going to be up to you guys to decide. I'm just trying to give you guys the best information to succeed. And so just to recap real quick, I think what I'd be looking at just for first round lead would be taking off those 2 players. And then we're looking at we're looking at John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Xander, Morikawa, Hatton, Rose, and Scott. Now, I don't mind the idea of Homa as well. What's interesting about these players right here that are listed here, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, and John Rahm. Those are all players that we have been able to confirm have at least played this course in the past. That's kind of huge. Now, I do just want to present maybe some possible long shot first round leader picks that you can be on. Ricky Fowler's gonna be one of my favorite plays. He grew up very close to the course. You could be on him if you chose to be so or chose to do so. Patrick Rogers is another one of those players that we know has played this track before, and overall not a bad play this week in like DFS, and maybe, and I'm not going to say he's going to have the first round lead. It's a major. I highly doubt that. But at least he does have the course familiarity. He has played this course a decent amount based off the reports that I've seen. So maybe if you want to bet him to top 10 or something, maybe there's a matchup bet out there that you want to roll with, you can use that one as well. So now the reason why I went ahead and did it that way is because now we're going to get into the props. I'm going to start out with the birdie or better matchups because I do think that those are going to be some of the best props that we have available on the day. So I do want to start off with saying we have no idea how this tournament is going to play. We don't. We have some good guesses, but really once the players take the course, then we'll know. So all these props that we have, like the edges that we have, I would take it with a grain of salt because this is just using the data that we have at hand. And so what I used to get this data for the projection data was I just looked at the averages for courses that were similar to this and put that together to get some proper stat lines. And so I think I'm on the right track just by the simple fact that the PrizePicks and Underdogs props that are out there are pretty much the same. And let's start with that. So looking at it for PrizePicks and Underdog differences, we're not getting that many. Like, sure, Ricky Fowler, if you think he's going to have a good day in round 1, you can bet the under on PrizePicks. If you think he's going to struggle, bet the over on Underdog. Let's flip it around and we'll see maybe a little bit more of discrepancies with looking the other way, but not too much. There's not real much to go in on there. So really, to me, some of the best props that we can be on are actually going to be these matchup based props. So let's go ahead and click into that. And so where are we getting the best edges with that? We'll see that one of the best ones is actually going to be John Rahm versus Victor Hovland. Okay. Victor Hovland is projected to get 4.66 birdies or better, which you could argue might be a little bit high. And John Rahm projected to get 5.72 is probably going to be a little bit high as well. Okay. Event average is about 3. So I get that. I get why you would think that. But once again, if we just use this tool here, we can pull up John Rahm and we could use the Showdown tool as well. I'm using this. And Victor Hovland here, we'll see that Vegas thinks that John Rahm is going to be better in terms of likelihood to have the first round lead. And sure, this is going to measure more strokes than birdies are better, but they do correlate at least a little bit. And then the 9 to 5 data likes John Rahm significantly more than Victor Hovland. So all that should mean that John Rahm is going to be a good prop bet. And then also looking at Ricky Fowler, Shane Lowry is a golfer very much known for not making many mistakes. He's actually going to be someone that when we compare the two on the betting sheet again, actually pops decently well, like compared to each other. Now, Ricky still ranks out better, which I like to see, but only slightly. Overall on the slate, 27 to 29 for first round, and then odds-wise, 23 and 24. So basically even, except for Ricky's a little bit more prone to bogeys, and he's also going to be more prone to making some birdies. So that is a decent prop that we're getting golf-wise as well. From there, if you want to roll with Tony Finau, you could. This should be a good track setup for him. If we look at the opposite, Scotty Scheffler, you could potentially do. I don't want to touch that, but really what I'd like to see with these two is that we have Scotty Scheffler versus John Rahm, birdie or better. Then we also have John Rahm versus Victor Hovland, birdie or better. So we can essentially maybe get Scotty Scheffler versus Victor Hovland in that comparison, and we'd be choosing Scotty Scheffler all day, any day out of that. So the fact that we have John Rahm versus Scotty Scheffler, right, tells me that John Rahm should be able to get the over. That's a good prop. And then same thing here with Shane Lowry as well. Shane Lowry has 2 birdie or better matchups. So that kind of tells me, and like Svensson, really not that good as well. Still actually the under here for Shane Lowry here. So not exactly expected to go out and do too well. So that's one way we can go about using this data. And for what it's worth, here we go. Let's compare Hayden Buckley to Adam Scott as well. well. I was wanting this prop. I was wanting Justin Rose and Adam Scott props, and I was mad that they were matched up against each other. So let's take a peek at that. All right, so looking at just based off of the odds rank, okay, obviously Adam Scott, much better golfer, okay, so expected to score better. First round leader wise, expected to score better as well. So not a huge edge here, 0.29, but I would say more times than not, Adam Scott is going to have more birdies than Hayden Buckley. So a pretty good prop there as well. Now let's go ahead and shift and get into some other props that we have available. I was actually hoping to get some fairway hit props because the fairways are pretty wide. We're not getting those. So let's just take a peek at greens and regulation props. And the only good one out there is Patrick Cantlay, so probably not touching that. That's like a birdie or better. Not huge edges there. I mean, look at this. This is pretty much spot on. And so the reason why I'm pulling up like this stuff individually, even though I don't really like them, is I think the best route that we can go with is going to be maybe betting on Underdog, where one, we could do it by AM and PM pretty easily, but also we can bet it in terms of how the course is going to play. We have no idea how the course is going to play. We're making educated guesses. So is Vegas. Okay, this is the first time we've really seen this course competitively. So in the 2017 Walker Cup, some of the players have played on it in the Pac-12 championship, but we don't know. So what I want to point out is that what we could do is like kind of bet on how the course is going to play. We know that Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler are the best players in the world, 1 and 2, and then you could kind of question who's after that. You know, maybe Brooks as well. We'll get into Brooks in a second. But looking at it, what we could do is just bet the higher strokes for the golfers that have the AMT times for one, and then do the exact opposite. Look at this. Like Brooks Koepka has the same stroke total, but he has the PMT time. And typically speaking, it's not a big difference, but it could be. Like there are weeks in which that does be a significant difference for whatever reason. Maybe the greens get a little bit roughed up. The crowds are a little bit more rowdy. The greens are a little bit harder, firmer, and faster, as well as the fairways throughout the day. For some reason, it just seems to be that there are lower scores in the morning, even though the AM PM scoring doesn't seem to exactly suggest that too much. And I just attribute that to golfers are still going to play poorly when they play poorly, right? But getting back into this point, we could just bet a bunch of overs, and I want to do it by tee time split. So we could do higher here, higher, and then we could actually do the flip side of that as well, where we're just betting on how the course is going to play. And once again, I do want to do that by tee time, okay? I think that's a good split that we can do. So I always like to give a bet of the day. Last week, the PrizePicks props for golf, none of them missed last week, which was a little bit lucky, obviously, but solid week last week, and it's been one of the most beneficial resource. We've had a few 6-leg bets hit on Underdog, kind of doing that approach that I mentioned, and so I'm going to do that again this week as well, just betting on the course. And they pay out full, whereas PrizePicks doesn't. That's why I'm suggesting more on Underdog rather than on PrizePicks for round one. And then betting-wise, I already mentioned it, I'm just going to be going with those players that ranked out best with the first round lead. And so once again, what I'd be looking at is betting Jon Rahm, Scottie Scheffler, Xander, Collin Morikawa, Hatton, Rose, and Adam Scott to have the first round lead, but also to finish maybe T5 or T10 as well. We can see we are going to get some good odds on them as well. 22-1 for Rahm on FanDuel. You know, FanDuel's just giving us good odds across the board there. But that's going to be all for this video. If you guys enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate, good week, good luck this week, and as always, let's keep cashing.